Hey people, C Squared here. Yesterday I took the UAG test for the Part 107 Remote Pilot Certificate from the FAA, and I passed with a 93%. So in addition to just sharing that good news with you, I wanted to also come on here and maybe tell you a little bit about how I studied for it and the process and everything, just in case anybody who watches this might need a little encouragement and maybe a few pointers on how the process works. So the first thing was when I started looking into drones, it just seemed like a really extravagant hobby and a little bit too much cost for what it really brought to my photography and videography, just to dress up videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But then I noticed there's actually some ways to make money with it, so that made me think maybe it is worth pursuing it. You get the license and then maybe you can do some jobs. So that is my goal with it, is to actually augment my income some with it. So then I decided, okay, it might be worth doing this, so let me just get a drone, find out if I like it, and then we'll go from there. So I got my Phantom 4 Pro Plus, and immediately I loved it. I mean, it was just so much fun. I mean, what's not to like? It's a camera that flies. So immediately I was into it, and then I decided to start looking into how I might get the certificate so that I could do it commercially and just further my photography and videography with the drone. So immediately I went online and just searched in YouTube for some information about it, and of course Tony Northrup's video came up, and I already subscribed to their channel, so I was just immediately on that. So his video was really helpful, and it really encouraged me because it told me a little bit about how the questions and the information work. I think that was really conceptually, I felt like his video really helped me a lot. So that was like probably the first thing I really looked at regarding the testing for the Part 107. So I would highly recommend that, so you might want to check that out. And then once I started looking into further information, I immediately just went to the FAA site and read through their information on the site and did the little practice questions and stuff like that. And I searched around for some things, and then pretty soon I realized I probably needed a book, because I'm a kind of person who likes to study out of a book anyway. And I like to teach myself. I've always been like that. Might be because I was raised, for the most part, as an only child. And so I went on Amazon and I bought this book, which is it's published by ASA, and it is the Remote Pilot Test Prep for 2019. So this book was really helpful. It came with this kind of the official FAA supplement, and it really has pretty much the highlights of what you need to know. Really kind of, it drills them into you, and there's a lot of little practice questions in the book, which is very helpful. So while you're studying, you're sort of testing yourself on the knowledge. And then also you get a lot of free practice, like I think five practice tests online that you can do and really just kind of see how you do. It's sort of like taking the test for real, and you just get to see how you are registering this information. So that was really helpful. So for me, the first three things, Tony Northrup's video really helped me a lot, then going on the FAA site and really reading the material and going through everything they kind of just right offhand tell you about it, and taking their little practice questions and everything, and then going into this book, which I bought on Amazon, and it was really cheap. So once I had studied the book real thoroughly and taken the practice test, then I started going online and looking up some of the real-world information that you learn in this process, like sectional aeronautical charts and tacks and so forth. And I would just go online onto the FAA site and download those charts, the PDFs, and study them. Look up things and try to find out some things about the airports in my own area, and then just try to comprehend it and absorb as much of that information in a realistic, organic way as possible. And that really helped me a lot with that. I really felt like I started to really get how all of that worked. So then the next thing I did was I went online and started to look for other practice tests and just some things I could do for free. And I found a number of things, and I also found some other information on other people's websites and other people doing YouTube channels that featured a pretty good information that helped a lot. Now, another thing that really helped me a lot was to go on YouTube and watch some videos with actual manned aircraft pilots and how they do things and what it's like from their point of view to operate around an airport. So that really helped me a lot, because really from just a drone pilot perspective, I found the whole airport system to be a bit baffling at first. But once I saw it more from the pilot's point of view, I really started to comprehend how and why things are organized the way they are, and it really helped it sink in a lot better. So anyway, that's just sort of a tip, I think, that might help you, is to try and understand the system from a manned aircraft pilot's point of view as much as you can. Now, I also have a friend who is a commercial pilot. So I had just a couple of conversations on the phone with him recently before I took the test, and that helped a lot too, just to talk about a few general concepts and how some of the FAA's regulations work and why the airspace system works the way it does, just some real general things. And it just immediately made some of the things make a lot more sense to me. So that's always another good thing to do, is to seek out a professional that is already in that field, and especially in this case, like a manned aircraft pilot. And they can really clue you in on a bit more of why these rules are the way they are and why the system works the way it does, because it works really well, actually. It's pretty impressive when you get right down to it. So this was a really economical way for me to go about doing this. It really made it doable, and I really enjoyed doing it this way because I like to study on my own. But if you're the kind of person who likes to study in a group or have an instructor, then this might not be the route for you, and you might learn it much better and faster the other way. So whatever works for you, but mainly I just want to encourage you that it's a very doable process, and it's not that hard once you understand sort of the perspective of the FAA and how things work and why they think about it the way they do. And they also have kind of an interesting stylized way of presenting questions that I think it helps to understand that. And that's something, again, I would point you back to the Tony Northrup video, because he does a great job of explaining sort of how the FAA asks these questions in these tests. So check that out, head over there and get yourself some good study materials, and I hope if you take the test you pass it with flying colors too. If you have any ideas or thoughts about this or questions, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're one of the people who's watched my drone crash video, you probably know I've been waiting for DJI to replace my Phantom 4 Pro version 2 that I crashed right after purchasing it. I have the DJI Care Refresh Express thing, and I'm supposed to get a replacement for that drone through them, and I filed that case about 3 weeks ago. So my progress report is that there has been no progress. Okay, so might not be surprising. So the most recent message from them has read as follows. This is just a follow-up. The team has responded that the Phantom 4 Pro version 2 is currently out of stock. We deeply apologize for the delay on this. The team is fully informed of the urgency as this case was created over 2 weeks ago. It was more like 3 now. The team will send you the replacement as soon as they get the unit restocked. Okay, well, the first couple of exchanges that I had with them, they said that they were testing a unit to send to me, or they were doing one thing or the other. They didn't say anything about it being out of stock. This actually is what I believe to be the case from the start. I wish they just said that to start with, just to be honest. But the thing that seems to have happened is that I apparently bought the last DJI Phantom 4 Pro version 2 in the history of Earth, because immediately after I bought it, I saw online that they were just discontinued everywhere. There were no indications of anybody having any of them in stock, and naturally I crashed it and needed to replace it, and there just aren't any. So I will still keep you updated. Matter of fact, I'm sure I'll be so excited about getting a replacement whenever it does happen that I'll have to make a video on it. So that is my progress report as of now, which is basically a progress report of no progress. So hope for better news next time. And if you enjoyed this video and stuck it out this far, really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in another one soon.